good evening, and welcome to Create a Flow Live. My name is Elisha, and tonight I'm going to be showing you how I use Apple Calendar to plan my entire week. Most people treat Apple Calendar just like an ordinary place to store dates and some important reminders. But as creators, we need something smarter. So, tonight I'm going to show you how I use Apple Calendar as the engine that runs my entire week. And when you connect it with Apple reminders the right way, you'll get a productivity system that rivals every paid planner out there. And trust me, I use quite a lot of planners, and so I always come back to Apple Calendar. So tonight, I'm going to show you exactly how to build a system inside of Apple Calendar. All right, so before we get into the bill, if your week feels chaotic before it even starts, you're constantly feeling like you're behind, it is not because you are unproductive. It's because your tasks are living in one place and your time is living in another. Earlier this year, I found myself being burnt out quite a lot and I had too many things doing. And so, one, I was thinking that I was productive, but also I was mismanaging my time. And what I have realized is that my task list holds all my responsibilities, and my calendar is where the actual reality of my day to day resides. And so Apple Reminders holds all of your responsibilities and your calendar holds your reality. But if you are not connecting both of them so they can work together, you will end up overbooking yourself. You're going to miss deadlines with clients and even deadlines you have set for projects. And you are going to feel scattered before the week even begins. And so tonight we are going to fix that with a system your future self will definitely thank you. All right. And so when it comes to managing your time and managing it effectively, it doesn't have to be rigid. I'm in the creator shoe now. Before I was in a systems and automation and business oriented shoe. And so my calendar looked very rigid. But as a creator, I'm realizing that our rigidness is not for creators. There needs to be flexibility, and so I have, over the past couple of months and over the year more or less, found a way to make my calendar very flexible, but it allows me to be consistent and also productive while managing my time effectively. All right. And so the first thing is that your we are going to build out your weekly foundation, what that actually looks like. So, if you are viewing this on the replay, you can follow along with the build out. And I am going to be teaching some principles that can be applied not only in Apple Calendar, but you can also apply it in Google Calendar or whatever calendar system you are using. But primarily, this is for Apple Calendar. Okay. And so the first thing we are going to do inside of Apple Calendar, we are going to create three simple calendars. When we create those three simple calendars, the next thing we are going to do is actually color code them so we're able to easily identify each calendar and what it actually represents. So as we go along in tonight's exercise of building out that system in Apple Calendar, it is easy for us to easily identify what belongs to maybe work, what belongs to personal, and what belongs to our everyday routines. All right. So when you go over into Apple Calendar, uh your calendar may not look as it's laid out here, but this is an example of what my system and my everyday actually look like in Apple calendars. Because I am a tech creator and I'm constantly trying different tech solutions and calendar softwares and different types of apps. I'm in another app right now testing it out, but this is where for the most part of the early part of the year my actual life resided inside of Apple calendars. And so you might be asking the question tonight, Elisha, how did you get your calendar to look like this? I'm going to show you how to do it now. Some days it might not have looked how it, or the reality of it is that yes, it was on the calendar and I got it done, but during the course of each day, I had to adjust timings so I can just get stuff done accordingly. All right. So the first thing we're going to do on the I'm using my iPad. So on the top left of my screen, I am going to turn on the navigation pane on the left. And yours might not look this full, but this is what my current calendar system actually looks like. So tonight I'm going to show you how to create 3 simple calendars for work, for personal, and for your routines, and how to color code them. So to the bottom, you're going to hit on add calendar, and then you're going to click on add calendar again, and we are going to put in the first name. So this is going to be work or content. I'm going to choose iCloud. The reason why I'm choosing iCloud, because I want this to be synced not only to my iPad but across all the devices within my Apple ecosystem, or that is signed in with that Apple ID. So whether it's my iPhone or my Mac computer or my iPad or even the cloud of itself, I want everything to be synced seamlessly across my various devices. If you are someone who does a lot of collaboration with other people who have an Apple, who are within the Apple ecosystem and they have an Apple ID, you can also share it, that calendar, with that person as well. And this is where the color coding comes in. Make sure you're choosing colors that you're able to um, easily identify with the specific calendars. In this case, if I click on orange here, I can choose the different colors here. But for the purpose of this exercise, I'm going to leave the work as orange. All right. And you can also get your notifications and make sure to turn on the notifications, which will be very important in our later exercise. I'm going to hit on the done button to the top, and notice this work or content calendar actually comes up here. All right, if I want to add another one, I can go back in here. I'm going to call this admin or personal. All right, I'm going to leave it at iCloud. I'm going to leave it at green, and I'm going to hit on that. So these are my 2 calendars. I think I want to do another one. I'm going to call this routines, and in a second I'm going to show you why. It actually change that to blue. Okay, and I'm going to hit on done. So I have my tree here. All right, so work, admin, and personal. All right, the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to literally go down to the current month we're in, which is December. And you're going to notice a common theme as I'm scrolling. There's some things that remain very it's repetitive every month, and I'm going to get to that soon and how you can build it. All right, now the next thing we are going to do is to actually fill in our non-negotiables. All right, so our non-negotiables are things that repeat every single week, but also you are building the foundation of your calendar. What are those things that repeat every week? If it's admin day every Monday, if it's a weekly reset day, if it's a day to just brainstorm, what are those non-negotiables? I want you to fill them into your calendar. And so it repeats every single week, or if it's a non-negotiable thing that repeats every single day, you can do so. And so what you will find, even in my calendar over the year, you will find a repeating task called CEO days, which is usually my admin days when I do all things admin. I don't do any content, I don't do anything relating to client work. And so every Monday, this one task reappears here every day, and that is my non negotiable day. All right. I don't do anything outside of just admin work. And so, how do you actually set this up? So, the first thing we are going to do, we're going to hit the plus sign. I'm just going to close this off. I'm going to hit the plus sign to the top here. And you can either add an event or a reminder. And I'm going to get to the reminder portion later. But more importantly, this is an event. And we are going to call this I want to set up a monthly content recording day. So um every month I batch record content. It could be 10 videos for the entire month or whatever. And so I want this to be repeated monthly on the third Thursday of every month. If there's a standing appointment or a standing meeting that you have every single month or every single week, you can set it up the same way. So in this case, I'm going to call this ooh, batch record monthly content. All right. You can be creative with the name. I'm going to set a time because I know I'm a morning person. So I may want to actually do this time, let's say from 10 a.m. 10 a.m. And I may want to block off a specific time, let's say 2 p.m. Right? So from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on the third Thursday of every month, that's dedicated to batch recording my content. Now, as it's set here right now, it's for today's date. But if you want that to be on a specific time or specific days, what you're going to do is come down to the repeat section, and where you have never, you're going to click there and you're going to choose custom. All right. And I'm going to change the frequency from daily to monthly. And then I'm not going to say each month, but I'm going to say on. And then I'm going to say the third. I'm going to choose the third. It could be the second or the fourth. But in this case, I'm going to choose the third. And then I'm going to choose Thursday. All right. So the third Thursday of every month, I know that is my batch recording day. All right, so I'm going to just click over here, and this is going to repeat every month on the third Thursday. I don't want this to end just yet. I'm going to leave it open. But if there is a case where I have to go in and adjust the day or the time, I can always go in and do so. All right. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to change the calendar. It's going to set to my default calendar, which is business. But for the purpose of the one that we just create, I'm going to put it on the work or content. All right. And I can choose to get alert a day before, so I can be reminded of that standing non-negotiable. And I can also prepare for it the day before. If there's an additional note that I may need to make for this particular appointment, I can put it in here, or if there's a URL or attachments and all the things. Once that is set, I'm going to hit on done. And notice in my December calendar, it's showing batch record monthly content. But if I scroll over to January, it's going to be there. If I scroll over to February, it's going to be there. So this is creating those non-negotiables and making it repeat every single month, or you can make it repeat every single week. And it's the same thing I did for my CEO days. All right, where it's going to repeat weekly from Monday, every Monday. All right. If it's something, let's say for example, you have a morning routine before you begin working, or you like to go to the gym at the end of the day, or you want to block off family time after specific hour, you can do this. The reason this is so important is because this actually becomes the structure for your in which your entire week actually rests on. So there will be no guessing, no mental fatigue or juggling trying to remember all the things that you need to get done on a specific week or a specific day. All right. It's all living on your calendar. So you can free up your mental space in that way. Now, the second step is actually to connect calendar to reminders. This is where everything changed for me, and it was a total game changer. So, what we're going to do, we're going to head over into reminders, and we are going to, ooh, where is my reminders? And we are going to see how we can integrate the two. Now, inside of reminders, and this is the windowing system with the iPad OS 26. Inside of reminders, I have my template called Max My Day Out. This is where my non-negotiable tasks resides, my content priorities, admins and all the thing, life completed and all the other stuff. And so the non-negotiables are my top three priorities for the day, and also what are my content tasks or priorities for each day, and my admin tasks and all the things. Now, one of the things I recognize as a creator, a business owner, and all the stuff is that I can list the things that I need to get done each week and each day. But if it's not appearing on my calendar, it's not going to get done. The reason why I'm heavy on execution and I'm able to execute at a high level, because I put a date and time to everything. Once you're able to put a date and time to everything, it's literally reminders and calendar holding you accountable to get the task done. And one of the beautiful things I love about Apple Reminders is that it can be annoying with the notifications when it comes to a task. It always shows up on every device. And I love that because it is holding me accountable to get the things that I said I want to get completed done. All right. So let's say, for example, with regards to the content day, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to just switch out to this. Uh, do. All right. I'm gonna do this on a Thursday. Just switch this over here. Save for future tasks. This is gonna be on a Thursday. So I'm gonna switch to the week view, and then I'm gonna go into my calendar. So I have a few content priorities, and I also have some admin tasks. Now, once you put a date and time in reminders, it will show up in your calendar. So if I go into this particular task where I have to edit an Instagram video and I click on the I can choose the date, right? So I can say I'm going to edit this tomorrow, and I can choose the time, and I say, okay, I want to edit this at 1 p.m. All right. And I can state if it's going to be urgent. Now, this is a new feature inside the iPad OS 26, in that once you turn on urgent, it's going to have an alarm go off on your iPhone. In order for this to actually happen, you need to be using the same Apple ID on all your devices. So this was a very good feature that I'm very happy that they introduced. So the alarm will activate whether your focus is on or your device is muted. And I love this. All right. I can choose if I want to have an early reminder, and I can, add more to this. So I'm going to hit on done. All right. And it's showing that tomorrow at 1 p.m. Now, if I switch over to my calendar, all right, it may or may not show up in there. Let me see. Boop, boop, boop. So I'm going to go in here. All right. So I'm going to choose equal calendar here. Did I turn that on? Okay, perfect. All right. The next thing I'm going to do, I may have it appearing in there, but also I want it to actually come in on my calendar. So I can click and I can drag. Ooh, one moment. Sometime the dragging be dragging. Okay. And I can actually drag it onto my calendar at a specific time. All right. So I can say, well, okay, so 1 o'clock. Boom, boom, boom. All right. And notice that that is in here, and I can hit on done. All right. So I can leave it at a reminder, leave it as a reminder, or I can do it as an event, and I can actually have it in there. All right. So this is one way in which you're literally holding yourself accountable. So yes, you list out all the things that you need to get done on a daily basis or for the week, but the execution and actually holding yourself accountable and getting the tasks done is putting it on your calendar. For me, if it's not on my calendar, it does not exist. All right. And so this is a great way for you to work with your calendar as well as your reminders. The same thing if I want to do a photo shoot, or like today was day I did a photo shoot, and I know it started a specific time. That was one of my content priorities. Instead of having it there with no date and time, I simply drag it in here. All right. And then I hit on um the date. I hit on done. Sorry. If I need to go in and make any changes, I can change which calendar it belongs to. If I need to get an alert, I can also come in here and make changes and edits on all the things. And so this is really important when it comes to like really executing at a higher level. And this is where your week or your day will become more manageable and it's not going to be overwhelming. All right. Now, with the hybrid system, I'm going to share my hybrid system inside of the Apple ecosystem where I literally combine not only the calendar reminders as well as notes. If you've been following my channels or you're inside of any of my communities, like my Substack community or so, you'll know I rock hard with the Apple ecosystem. And so I'm going to show you my exact workflow. And so my workflow is this: all my ideas, if I need to get it out of my head, I put it inside of Freeform. All right. If I need to do my scripts, captions, and outlines and all the things, I put it inside of Apple Notes. So I'm going to go over and show you that. So Apple Notes is where I created a whole other system inside of here where I'm able to do my scripts. So I can do my scripts in here. I can like really flesh out the idea. And so notes become my creative brain. Once I'm done here, I can simply take this particular note and I can link it inside of reminders. All right. And notice that little notes icon appear there and also the iCloud icon. If you want a full in-depth of how I'm able to do that, it is on the channel. All right. And it's also linked in the description below this video. All right. So if I need to flesh out that task, I know that I can always reference back my Apple Notes. All right. So tasks, Apple Reminders is my project manager or task manager. And so I'm able to say, well, okay, I have the concept, I have the content idea, I've outlined the script, the caption, and all the things. The next thing I need to do is write out, okay, do I need to have a task to record that piece of content? All right. So once I'm able to do that, the next thing is the actual execution of hitting record. All right. So I may have it as a task, but I'm also going to put it on my calendar, right? Oops. So I will have to put it on my calendar and I can either drag it onto my calendar and say, well, okay, I need a specific day to record this particular piece of content. All right. So it can also be a reminder. So I can leave it in there. All right. Oops, did I lose it? Bruh. All right. So I can put it in there as well. All right. And I can leave it as an event. All right. And here it's showing up as a reminder in here as well. So use Apple Notes to flesh out the ideas or whatever it is you're planning. use Apple Reminders as your project manager or your task manager. Add your subtasks, add your notes and all the things, and to execute on that idea, that is where Apple Calendar comes in. Now, if it's not on my calendar, again, it is not happening. And this more or less is my hybrid system that works because each app does what it does best. And together they remove that decision fatigue. I have a ton of things that I have to remember on a daily basis. And one of the things, I don't want certain important tasks to be slipping through the cracks. And so mental fatigue is a real thing. And once we have a ton of things to do on a daily basis, it is very easy to forget stuff. And so I want to remove that decision fatigue. Now, when it comes to time blocking, that actually works. There is a strategy that I actually use. Again, creators need flexible structure and not those rigid routines. And so I create what are called anchors. So I'm able to I'm able to block out specific times of the day or the week on what I need to get done. And then from my reminders tasks or the tasks that I've listed in reminders, um, I literally put them into those blocks. All right. So, for example, you have seen here, I had this time block, and this is just an example. Let me go back to the month of March, right? And that will give you a perfect example of time blocking. So in this case here, I had a time block. All right. Though I had personal time and other things, I had other things coming into place. So yes, my personal time might be from 4 a.m. to 7 a.m., whether that's doing devotion and just spending time, just enjoying my time before the work ends. But there's some days where I would have been creating content, and I'm an early morning person, so I may wanted to start that task at 6 a.m. So yes, I have this recurring task appearing here, but also I wanted to record content from 6 a.m. to, let's say, 11 a.m. That is cutting into my personal time, and that is okay. Sometimes life be lifing. So having those overlaps are okay. Again, not every day is going to be ideal, but if you have those block of times where, yes, you have admin tasks and you may want another task to appear here, or you want to create your blocks of time. It's pretty simple to do. I'll just use this as an example. All right. So what you simply do, you just click and you drag. Oops. All right. A little technical difficulty here. Okay. All right. So oh, come on. I think it's because I'm in August. Let me bring it back to December. Right? So if I'm, let's say next week, Tuesday, I want to have a block of time to do some ID, what I will simply do, I'm going to click and, oops, come on, be here. Click and drag. All right. So when you click and drag, this is where you can put a time block. All right. And I can say this could be content planning, or I should say business planning for 2026. Let's use that as an example. So from it could be an all day something. If it's going to be all day, it's going to appear to the top. If it's going to be between a specific time, you can do so as well. And I want to change my calendar out to admin. All right. And I hit on OK. So this is my time blocking. This is a great way. Like on Sundays, I would do time blocking because this is a little more easier for me with regards to my time blocks. And I'm able to see how my week is actually going to go. So if there's specific things that I need to get done, this is how I would literally time block my entire week or that entire day or so forth. All right. So that is one part. Give me one moment. I'm having some technical difficulties on the back end. Okay. There we go. I think my screen just blocked out. All right. Excuse me. Let me bring it back. All right. So I use time blocking as a way for me to stay consistent even when life be lifing. All right. So the next thing is, with how do you actually automate with focus mode? I'm a systems and automation expert, right? I'm a systems and automation expert. And so, what you will find, I love automation, and I love that the fact that the Apple ecosystem gives us shortcuts so we can automate our devices and the apps on the device. And so, I have two ways that I automate my calendar on my iPad, even my MacBook or my iPhone. So I'm going to show you guys how I do that. So the first thing we are going to do, we are going to go into shortcuts. And so with the focus modes, I want to be able to work on my different devices without interruptions. So before I set up an automation, the first thing you need to do is set up the shortcut. What do you want your device to do? So I have my folders for organization purposes, and I do have an iPad automation folder. In here, I have something called a calendar check-in. So basically, to set this up, I would have hit the plus sign at the top here, and I would have built it out, which I'm going to take you through how I built it. All right. So the first thing I did once I hit that plus sign, I make sure to rename so I'm able to identify that particular shortcut. And then the next thing, I went over into search actions and I look for calendar here. Once I hit on calendar, it's going to give me a ton of different things that I can automate or create shortcuts for on the iPad or relating to the calendar. In this case, I choose get upcoming events. And so with the get upcoming events, I just put a random number of 12. I don't have a 12 events in a day, but just to cover bases, 12 events, get 12 events, not from all the calendars, but I can choose from a specific calendar. So in this case, I can choose my work or content calendar. And below that, I just press the arrow down instead of any day, because any day is the default that is set. I choose today, or it could be tomorrow. All right, so I choose today. All right. um I'm gonna come out of that. Before you come out of it, I do recommend testing it. So if you hit on the play button, it's gonna pull the events from today that is on that calendar. All right. Once that is done, we're going to head over to automation, and then we're going to hit on the plus sign. And then we are going to say when work is turned on, run immediately. Next. And then I'm going to go down to the iPad automation section, and I'm going to choose that calendar check-in. So every time the work focus mode is turned on, it's going to do that calendar check in. So that's one level of automation um, from a focus mode when the focus mode is turned on. There is another way, and I love that other way. I'm going to show you. We're going to go into settings. All right. And then I'm going to come down into focus here. And then in the work section, I'm going to tap on that. All right, I'm going to come down to focus filters. All right, let me just remove this so I can show you guys how it's done. All right, so in the section called focus filters, I'm going to hit on the plus sign and I'm going to choose calendar. And then I can choose when a specific focus mode is turned on, which calendar I want to show up. I don't want to see all the things that is on my calendar. I just want to see that specific calendar that is tied to that specific focus. So in this case, because it's work, I'm going to look for the work or content calendar. And I hit on that and I tap on done. So I'm going to show you the behavior of that when you go in. So I'm going to switch my focus mode from recording to work. And notice in the calendar of itself, it's showing filtered by focus, and it's showing that it's currently on, and it's only showing me anything relating to that calendar of work or content. All right. If you go back in here, notice on the left, it hide every other calendar and it's just showing that specific calendar. If I turn this off, it's going to resume back to everything else. And if I turn it back on, it's going to resume to the focus filter that I have selected. This is a game changer. Tying your calendar to your focus modes, it is a game changer. And I love this inside of the Apple ecosystem. I constantly keep telling people nobody can make me hate Apple. All right, because it's these little features that literally improves your productivity. All right, it literally improves your productivity. All right. Now, I have given you guys a lot in this video on how you can use Apple Calendar to run your entire week and also integrate it into your weekly or your monthly workflow. Now, Apple Calendar becomes a completely different tool when you connect it to reminders and notes, as you saw in my hybrid system, how I'm able to connect it. And also, it allows me to stay organized, it allows me to stay consistent, and I'm able to avoid what is called burnout, all right? That creative burnout. Now, if you're interested to learn all my workflows and also my thought process behind building these different types of systems, I do have a productivity cheat sheet that is currently available. You can hit the link in the description and get your copy. It is totally free, so go ahead and get it. And also, if you are interested in more Apple productivity tips, content, or just features that will improve your workflow and your everyday life, do feel free to like and subscribe and all the things. And let me know in the comments, what are you most excited to do when it comes to your calendar and time management in 2026 coming up? We're planning for the new year. How are you going to use Apple Calendar in your new workflow for the new year? Let me know in the comments down below. All right. And as always, your tech should be working for you and not against you. And I will see you in the next Create a Flow Live. Bye.